On today's Customizer Corner, we are doing the counterpart to the Super Mega Blaster, the Gokai gun. And we are breaking it down, as we have done before. I did a bit of prep work before this. Nothing too major, I just removed the screws, as you can see there, for most of the body, just so you wouldn't have to see the process of a screwdriver, which I'm sure everyone knows how to use at this point. The screws were located two here in the base. There's one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one up here, one here, and two here. And of course there's also the battery cover, which I unscrewed as well. And then there's a separate plate, because if you remove all those, you would think you'd just be able to slide it right off. Well, actually you can't. This plate here, which seems like it's just a decorative plate that's screwed on, actually helps hold this entire thing together. So I'm going to do that on screen with you guys. We're going to remove these screws here. And then we will take a look at what the Gokai gun has to offer. Now, I'll also mention that the actual chamber has a bunch of screws on it, but that's just to hold the chamber itself together, as far as I know. So I'm not going to actually remove those screws, because they don't really need to be removed. Alright, so this plate here. And the two in the back. Finish it off. Did I miss any? I do not see any that are missing. Pop it off, and we have the Gokai gun unveiled. So what does the Gokai gun have in it? Well, it's clearly more complicated than the Super Mega Saber. Here is our on-off switch, so I'll turn it on. Now, I don't want to completely disassemble this because of the, obviously, complexity of it. Plus, it would break the tape here, and I don't want to break the tape. However, what you'll see when we look at this is that there's a spring here. And of course, that uses a latch. You can see that from the inside without opening it. But what's interesting is the actual locking sound. It's not from the latch being moved. Watch. Just when you get close to it. So it's a little hard to see, but right here is a small gray button. You turn the power off, and you'll see that that is what's causing it to make the trigger sound, the locking sound. As for the actual effect of it charging up when it's got a key in there, let's grab a random key and see if we can see the gears inside it when an actual key is turned and in the chamber. Unfortunately, can't really see it without breaking the tape, and like I said, I don't really want to break the tape. But there would be a latch somewhere in here that's activated by the turn of the key. Keep in mind that the Gokai gun does not have any light functions. It doesn't recognize different keys. All it does is give the charge up noise. So there's a little button that's turned in here when you turn the key. Okay, so let's look at our equipment here. It's the cap. The actual speaker is here in the barrel. As you can see the wiring. It goes through into here. So for example, if you wanted to, I don't know, I'm just tossing ideas out here. For example, say you wanted to make this a stereo device, and say it would have a double barrel, like a custom Gabba revolver or whatever. Then you would have to split this wire here and wire it out to 2 speakers. Power supply cable here. Let's see. Well, here's where the battery leads are. As you can see, we've got the two, the red and the gray. They feed all the way over into here. Let's see here. And there's the red and the gray right here with a third black lead, which is coming from here. So the black lead is here, which means that when this is flipped, it's correcting the circuit to the black lead. So if you actually wanted to control the charge up yourself, see here, the black wire leads into here, then it would be from this black lead wire. For the actual normal gunfire sounds, it's looking like it's from this white lead. Again, I don't want to break the tape and mess with this. As you can see up here, for the actual trigger, it's still pushing just a standard little button, nothing fancy. And that is where our gray lead comes from, the firing. The red lead is just from the battery packet. You can see different capacitors there. All in all, it's still a very simple design. There really isn't a lot to the Gokai gun itself. So if you wanted to recreate this, for example, with your own soundboard, some things to consider would be the fact that you're going to, assuming you took this out or you're going to build it from scratch or whatever, just if you want to know what they use and how to properly replicate it, the things you have to keep in mind is that the actual lock and unlocking sound is fed through a wire, and it doesn't actually touch it. It just doesn't actually touch the latch and lock in. It's before it touches the latch and locks in, it flips a switch, which gives us the sound there from the soundboard. Similarly, for the actual charging sound, there would be, now, it's kind of hard to see, but this white lead down here is where it feeds in from the chamber. So that would be where the firing sounds come from. Well, that's probably where the charging sounds come from, actually, because the firing sounds, depending on how they have it wired, might be coming from this. But this looks like it's just a standard button board. So my guess is the button board here is wired to the soundboard here. It really isn't any room for any other, circuitry in here. Let me take a look at its design. We've got this huge space taken up by the chamber here. So really all it can do is a couple of, button switches. We've got a huge spring down here to pop it up. So this is all hollow here. There's really no room for, because you can even see right down there in the corner, the hinge that the chamber is on. So really, you have two boards here. This one and here. This one is clearly just a button switch that's giving a power signal to this area here. And this area is your entire soundboard. So if you want to recreate this or modify it, this is where the guts of everything is. This is where you're going to have to worry and focus your attention on, right here. Whoa. So there you go. That's the Gokai gun in all of its glory. I'm going to reassemble this and work on my next customizer corner. But there you go. That's the guts of the Gokai gun. See you next time, everybody.